I want to talk about going all in. What does it actually mean? Most people preach this a lot in my space, and they talk about, go all in on you, choose your passion, do what's required, all these, and a lot of conflicting advice that you hear online nowadays. Everybody just has their own way of thinking, and they preach and claim that is the right way of thinking, right? And it's really, really interesting topic. By the way, my city is in shambles right now because there's a massive power outage across the entire city. And I think it has something to do with that big flooding underneath that bridge. Let me just show you quickly. Look at the traffic. All that water on that road there shut down all the power here. I have no power right now, so I decided to make this video. But anyways, let's get back to it. Going all in. Most people struggle with this, and I would know because I've struggled with it myself. And this is one thing that has really plagued my mind over the past, I would say, year and a half, maybe even a little bit longer, because while I've been growing a business, I really fell into my business. I didn't necessarily choose it based on my passion. Now, to take you back a little bit, my goal was to be a professional athlete till I was like 30 to like 32, and maybe I could get like a side hustle online, just do a little bit of copywriting, make like 10 grand a month while I was also making money in Europe as an athlete. And that for me was like, I love it. That's what I want. And then my mindset started to change where I wanted more, like bigger things in life. I had bigger dreams. I wanted more autonomy and full freedom and optionality in my life. And I knew that was going to take more than retiring as an athlete at 32 and then, kind of having some skills in the online space and then needing to kickstart my career from scratch, essentially. So I decided to do it in my 20s, which I'm doing now. Now, I've been at the game for a few years now, officially, but only really profitable within the last 2. And I'm still new in the game of entrepreneurship long term. But my thought process is like, what side do you go with? Do you go with the side of do what's required, ignore your passion because it doesn't matter, right? And use desire or pain as your driver? Or do you go with the passion side and go all in on that? These are two conflicting thought processes that I hear all the time online. And you'll hear people on both sides of the spectrum that are insanely wealthy, very successful, and are smart people at the end of the day because they've gotten to a position, whether it was following their passion or it just was doing what's required. And I've listened to people on both sides and trying to apply that to my own life because truthfully, my passion was in athletics, right? And when I first got into business and entrepreneurship, I was actually going down the road of e-commerce because I love the thought of creating a productizing, whether it be, physical products like apparel or, a drink company or something like that, right? Like I like the idea because I like cool branding. I like cool marketing campaigns. I love when other people get involved in the community and like they'll wear your stuff. Like I think of, I might have mentioned this in a previous video, but like let's say a bunch of people are wearing your clothing, right? I almost equate that to a bunch of people loving your music, right? And like you're performing in front of a crowd, you see that people love your music. Well, if you had like a product where everybody's wearing your clothing and they love it, that's almost like that's a really fulfilling feeling, right? For people to see that they love your product and they really stand behind it. Now, I've experienced this for myself right now in services and service businesses because that's what I'm in, right? I have basically a marketing company, and we help people with their marketing and sales and add clients and scale up, multiple 6 figures and more. So that is fulfilling on itself, right? Is necessarily me talking about lead generation all day my passion? No, of course not. Like I mean, there's people out there that want to talk about lead generation all day, but I love business in the sense of what it does over a mass scale, more than just like lead generation, right? So that to me is where like a passion lies. But for me getting into business, it was only really to do with desire and pain because I didn't want to be poor and I wanted to have optionality and full autonomy and freedom over my life. So that was the driver for me. There was no real passion involved, but I wanted to dedicate myself to that. Now, going all in on that idea for me was tough over the last couple of years, even when building my business and seeing the success that I've seen, because I always thought, well, maybe I should follow a passion of some sort to stay in it on the days where I really don't feel like doing anything. And that's where the skill of doing what's required comes in. You see how it kind of conflicts, right? And you can obviously still do what is required on days where you are not feeling the best and you are working on your passion, but you get where I'm coming from. So that's kind of where I was at, right? Now, going all in really does entail that you cut your focus and narrow it to one thing. I see a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people online that are going to be like, oh, well, I have, I'm writing this book, I'm releasing this book, I have this company, I have this coaching program, and I do real estate. It's like, you are going to get nowhere. You might get somewhere, but it won't be in one clear direction, and you won't be as big or as great in one thing as you could potentially be if you just focused in one area and actually stuck with it until transitioning into something else. This is like people with side hustles. People with side hustles, that's all they'll ever be. It'll just be a side hustle, and you yourself will be hustling, will be grinding, right? That is a grind. For me, I like to think smarter, right? I'm no stranger to hard work, but I know that thinking smarter will get you further, right? And then also working with the right people will get you even further than that. So going all in on the idea of like, I want to be great at one thing. I want to find people that are just like me to do that thing with and provide a ton of value and create a product that people love. And maybe it becomes my passion, right? That's the other thing you have to understand is like, maybe it's not necessarily a purpose or a passion, but you go all in on the thing that you think is going to get you your dream to the point where it does become your passion, right? That's one way of thinking. So for all of you out there who are struggling to be like, I don't know if this is for me. I want to find my passion. I want to go all in on something that means something to me. Do it. Because at the end of the day, you are going to die. The people who make judgments towards you that are the closest to you in your life or the furthest away, they are going to die. No one is really going to remember us in the next 100 years unless you create some incredible impact, which is few and far between, but let's say you do. The next 200 to 300 to 500 years, you won't even be remembered that much anyways, because who are we still talking about today outside of Jesus Christ from 500 plus years ago, right? So that is an idea that you need to keep in mind, is that there's only so much time here. You don't know when your last second on this earth is going to be. So you might as well dedicate the time that you have been given to pursuing something that is meaningful to you. That's what I think, at least. And again, even as I'm saying that, it sounds conflicting in my mind because I've listened to people who say that, why does life have to be meaningful? And I'm sure you know where that's coming from. And there's people that say that, and I respect them a lot. And it's a good point to basically push you in a direction that will eradicate fear of doing things that you want to be doing without the judgment of others, right? And just do it for the sake of doing the thing to get the outcome eventually of what you want. And in the process, in the journey, become the person who can obtain a life full of abundance, wealth, freedom, and success. So we only have so much time here, and you might as well just have more crazy stories, have more life worth living. And it might take a little bit of hard work, it might take a lot of sacrifice, but if you do it to the best of your ability and you do what you love and you do the thing that is going to push you in the right direction, you find purpose, you find passion in that, and then you work to show up on the days where you don't feel like doing it. That combined, these both worlds, these two narratives of going all in, eventually collide. And in my opinion, I feel like that's where you'll see the most success. So I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Call me stupid, call me crazy, call me whatever you want, but you can leave it in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.